pride be the reason that you lose. Don't let pride be the reason that you lose.
What's up, y'all? This is the Plain Black Rapper Podcast, and I'm your host, Nytelife. Thank you for joining me again for episode 56. This one is titled Moments. Seize your moment, grab your moment, do whatever it is that you need to do to take it. And I know that's kind of an overused cliche, but that's definitely what I want to talk about. Please make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure that you add us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and wherever you get your podcasts from. Comment. Please make sure that you, just keep the conversation going. If you feel in the content, let me know. Something I need to get better at, let me know. I'll take any and all things that have to come with that. So appreciate y'all. And thank y'all for the love that I've been getting as far as from, what we've been posting on TikTok. We've been posting on for Reels and Instagram, and also just the views that I'm getting on YouTube. So thank you so much. Today, I've had an opportunity to just revel in some things that have happened. I've had some good things happen with me. And it's taken me a while to just be able to understand that I'm in control of my own destiny. I can't allow outside things and other people to be able to interrupt or step in the way of what it is that I'm trying to achieve and get to my moment. Been so afraid to jump, so afraid that there was only a certain skill set that I had and I was only good enough to do certain things. And when you put yourself in that frame of mind, it really is a blocking mentality. You really just kind of just put a ceiling over your head and you can't get through because you only think that you're good at certain things. You may think that you're average at certain things. It makes you not achieve or want to push for a level of greatness because you've already put that collar on you. You don't want to go any further than that. You're comfortable. You're comfortable. Oh, it's going to take extra work to be able to get to that next level, but we're so comfortable. We don't want to leave. Everything is within our fingertips. We have control. And when we have a lack of control, which is what happens when you want to take that next step and go to that next level and get there, that's when it becomes uncomfortable. And you have to revel in your own comfort to step out of that, understand it, and appreciate comfort, but to be able to step on to whatever it is the new level is for you. Understand where your vices are, understand what your weaknesses are, and work on your weaknesses. Those things are hard. A lot of our weaknesses come out of comfort. Things that we do. We may want to lose weight, but we like to eat certain shit. We may want to financially, we want to be able to save and have security and do things as far as being able to take care of our families. But, we just spend haphazardly on things that we don't necessarily need. I mean, and try to go after the wants. And I think a lot of those things are just mentality and comfort. You go for the short term to make you feel better. It's like drugs. You take it just to get that high, to be in that moment. And then when you come down off that high, the one thing you want to do is chase after the drug again. And when you get in that cycle, you lose track of all the things that are important. You lose the fundamentals of being disciplined. You miss out on creating a plan for yourself, checklisting and finding out the things that need to be taken care of and putting your needs first as opposed to your wants. Put your family first ahead of your own wants. Understanding that in order for you to be able to get to where you need to get to, that you have to make sacrifices for comfort You have to give up being comfortable. You have to go out. You may have to run a couple of miles. I hate running, hate it. But I know the only way that I'm going to lose weight is to do that and to do the weight training and get through that whole 2 week period where you start weight training and you go through the soreness. And once you kind of get past that soreness of lifting weights and your arms not being able to be functional and you know, your legs all stiff and everything, you get through that pain, then you get to the process. And once you get to the process, you get to the routine. And once you get to the routine, you get to a new comfort level because that's your new normal. And creating these things as far as a new normal is crazy. It's like you look at stuff and it's like there's so many things you get overwhelmed because you feel like you have to change so much. That's how I look at it. I'm approaching being a 50-year-old man, and I still feel like there's so much that I can do as far as being able to make myself better, to be able to put myself in better positions, to put my health in better positions, put my family in better positions, put my career in better positions, put my music in better positions, put this podcast in better position, the gauntlet, all the things that I got going. I feel like there are things and levels that I can go to, but it's just a matter of me putting more effort into it and more time and more passion and attacking it. You have to be able to attack it. The one thing that I think was a good example is a friend brought up to me, said, you know how it is when you're in the bed and it's morning and you have to make that decision to get out of bed. And it's like, do I get out of bed an hour earlier and I go run, or I go meditate and do affirmations and do all of those things? Or do I stay in this warm bed for another hour and then get ready for work? You have a choice at that particular time to choose to better yourself. And sometimes you choose the comfort, but you got to force yourself to be able to get out of that and get away from that. You got to get out that warm bed. You're going to have to go out in that cold sometimes, or you're going to have to go out in that heat sometimes. And you're going to have to, you're going to have to put one foot in front of the other and get it done. And sometimes that's really, really hard. But it's up to you to find the way. It's just you. There's nobody standing behind you telling you to go. And I looked at that as far as all my life, I've had somebody behind me telling me to go. My martial arts instructors was always telling me to go. They were pushing me. Music, I've had people around me constantly. I've always kept a camp around me. I already kept, artists around me. I kept people around me to push me to go. And when you have that, it's a lot easier to stay motivated. But when it's just you and you on that island and you get comfortable with lying to yourself, you get comfortable with knowing that, hey, nobody sees this. It's just me. So what am I? I don't have to do this. Who's going to know? But God knows. And it's just a fact of you have to live with that. And I'm no longer willing to live with that, knowing that I could be doing more and I could be better. There's no way I should be where I am because I have the talent, the gifts, the know-how, the expertise, the experience to be a lot further along than I am in whatever it is I'm doing. It's just being ready to jump. In earlier podcasts, we talked about the 100%. What's the 100? Sometimes we fake the 100% and we make the bar low. And then when we hit that and we say, well, we did everything that we could, and that's the 100%. But you lowered the bar. You didn't expand the bar. You didn't make the bar higher. You didn't make that you didn't make that unreachable for you to try to reach it and get to it. You didn't place it high enough. You just made the lower level standard goal and you rung the bell for that. And you were pleased because you reached a goal, a milestone. And sometimes it's milestones that other people don't reach. So it looks like you're doing stuff. When you have a lot of, you have a lot of pots cooking You have a lot of pots going, your stove, you got a bunch of fires going. It looks like you actually doing a lot of shit, but you're not. Sometimes you just burning shit. Sometimes you just you just doing things that don't make sense. And it looks like you're doing more than you're doing because you don't have the effort behind what it is that you want to achieve. And you do just enough. And you can't be in those pockets of just doing just enough. It's not good enough. I feel like I'm not good enough where I am. Is I have to execute. I have to plan. I have to push myself. I have to see what that looks like. What does it look like when everything is put in? Not just sometimes, but relentless dedication, obsession, ferocity, all of that put forth to be able to attain what it is that I want to attain. I feel at this time I'm hitting landmarks and I'm hitting goals, but the things that I want, I can't pop no champagne and celebrate for anything yet because I haven't done anything. Not worthy of that. It's, it's like football. You work during the season to be able to get to the playoffs. You get to the playoffs and you get to the championship game. You get to the championship game, you get to the bowl. You don't win the bowl, you didn't really do shit. You can look at the other things that you accomplished at that particular time. Those milestones, you hit milestones, but you didn't achieve the one goal, the ultimate goal. You didn't achieve that. So all of that preparation and all of that hard work and all of those things that you got to didn't amount to anything because you didn't hit your ultimate goal. But you got to start over and do it again. And I think understanding what the ultimate goal is, sometimes we don't even have that. We don't have functionality. We don't have business sense. We don't have just the technical know-how of certain things or the will to want to learn the technical know-how of certain things and how they work in order to get better. We know just enough to be able to get us by, just enough to be good, to be serviceable, to be a good hand. We know just enough. And we're cool with being just enough because, again, that's comfort. That's where we sit at. We have that parachute. And as long as we know that we have that parachute, then we continue to do the same things. But sometimes you have to be in the mind frame of, I got to jump regardless. I got to see what this is about. Because sometimes that parachute don't open. There's a chance. But you got to take that chance and just go and see what happens. 100% foot to the gas effort every single day. And I see it practice. I see people doing it. I see people out in the space doing it. Anybody that you see on Instagram that you see more than 10 times a day are the ones that's going 100%. When they're all over your feed like, Jesus, him again? LaRussell's all on my timeline. Locksmith's all on my timeline. When you see them, you see that. Ice Me's all on my timeline. You see it. That is effort. That is passion. That is pushing forward. That's doing more than what's expected on top of all the other responsibilities that you have. I have no excuses because all of these gentlemen have families. They have kids. They have priorities. They have friends. They have all of these things that I have. They have the same barriers that I have. And they still continue to work at a feverish pace. 9 to 5s. You don't know how amazing it is for people to have 9 to 5s and still be able to just be so in tune with it is their crafts and their creativeness and doing things. It's amazing. Those are the people that you need to really take your hat off to, because they are the ones that's pushing regardless. They are working the hours that people are sleeping. They are tirelessly creating. And that's where I need to get to. That's where I need to get better at. Because these Plain Black Rapper podcasts are few and far between. Should be operating at 3 a week, to be honest. Should be operating at 5 a week, to be honest. But I have to push that. And I know I prioritize certain things, and I'm doing so many things to the point where I shouldn't be that hard on myself, but then I can, because other people are doing it. I can't find the excuses. People are finding their way around it and being successful because they push through. And they don't sleep sometimes. Sometimes they don't eat. Sometimes they don't get to kick it the way they want to kick it. Sometimes they don't get to hang out the way they want to hang out. Sometimes they got to forfeit that time that they usually did to do certain things. Sometimes it's not being able to see your favorite shows or watch TV or do all of that shit. You don't have the bandwidth to do it because you're still working towards something. You're still working towards creation. You're still building. And that's a beautiful thing. Once you start seeing the return on investment. If the return on your investment is inconsistent, that means you're inconsistent. That is the dance that I'm doing right now. My return on investment has been inconsistent because my effort has been inconsistent. I've been inconsistent. And I can be honest with that. People be like, man, you're doing so much. I see you doing this. I see you doing that. I see you doing this, because they don't know what the relentlessness looks like. I see you doing this. I see you doing that. It's crazy. You're doing so much. I'm not doing nearly enough. I'm not where I want to be. Not in this space, not in music, not at work, not as far as my kids, my family, financially. I'm not where I need to be at. I'm in a level of comfort. And sometimes you just find comfort in dysfunction. You're so used to being in dysfunction and doing things inconsistently and having things incomplete that you live, and that becomes a normal for you. It's like a functioning alcoholic. You get drunk so much that you go out here and you can still operate like a subnormal human being. And people don't even know. Some people don't know you high. Some people don't know you drunk, but you are. You still like a slave to that shit. And that's how it is with inconsistency and failure and just not doing what you're supposed to be doing and just being inconsistent in your practices. When you have no discipline, that's like drugs in itself. And I'm a man that struggles with discipline. I struggle with discipline. I struggle with being able to lock in and be able to stay on the course. In order for me to be successful at work, I have to check boxes. I need a checklist. I need to have my routine every day of the same thing I do. And once all my boxes is checked, I feel comfortable to be able to step outside to do other things. It's just a lot harder to do that when you're outside of that, because I'm being paid to do that job. And I'm still waiting for ROI on all the things that I got that's going on the side. So the point of making the list and checking the boxes on things, need to be better at that. Putting myself in a situation where I'm disciplined. I need to feel like I'm exhausted Like I'm completely exhausted. That's how I know I've done good work. When I've given everything and I feel like I don't even want to move. And you still moving when you don't want to move. You still get up when you don't want to get up. You still run when you don't want to run. You out there running, just trying to get to that second mile, get to that third mile, and you pushing, and your stomach is burning, and your chest is hurting, and your legs are just weak, and you want to stop and take that breath, but you don't. You just continue to push through it, and then when you get to that point and you made that goal, you feel so relieved. You feel like you've accomplished some shit. It's amazing to get to that point. But the application for that has to be with everything. It can't just be just with a couple of things. Anything that you are doing and you want to create a level of consistency with, you have to be able to push all the way through, and you have to run through the tape, past the tape. You don't just break the tape and stop. You run past the tape. Then you can slow down and survey and look at stuff. Go through. What Marshawn say? Go through an MF face over and over and over and over again. You have to do that. You have to do that with things that you want. I deserve to be in a better spot. But have I worked hard enough to be in that better spot? It's debatable. I know I could do better. And I know you can do better. Are we really putting forth that effort though? For everything? Are we working for the marriage? Are we working for the 9 to 5 to excel in the 9 to 5? Are we working to create the content as a content creator? Are we working to create the music as a music creator? Are we working to be a engineer when you mixing and mastering? Are you working on learning the techniques to do that? Are you working on trying to get rid of the uhs, ums, ands, and you know what I'm saying, out of your podcast presentations? It takes work. To start to excel to levels, it takes work. It takes consistency. It takes obsession. You have to obsess about wanting to be at a certain spot. Visualizing the realism of life in actuality. Just like AZ said on Life's a Bitch. You have to see it. You have to see yourself holding that championship. That moment, that Kobe moment, that Michael moment, that Joe Montana moment. You have to see yourself there and want to get there. But you can't get there if you just expect people to walk up and hand it to you. Everybody's entitled. Well, I'm supposed to get this. I'm supposed to get this. You can deserve to be somewhere, but you have to earn to deserve to be there. You can't sit here and be pissed off that other people are achieving things because you're not, because you don't work for it. Length of service don't mean a damn thing. Man, I've been doing this for 20 years and I ain't got nowhere. Are you doing the same thing that you've been doing for 20 years? Why are you doing the same thing for 20 years? Is there a higher level? Is there another skill set that you could have learned? Is there another department that you could have been into? Is there another thing that you could have tapped into? Is there another is there more learning? Is there what else have you tried? You can't just sit here and just bang a hammer for 20 years and then be mad because you had to bang a hammer for 20 years. That's your fault. You did that. If you're in the same spot and you're running in the same spot, it's your fault. Get off the treadmill. Get off it. It's up to you. It is up to you. I don't really know what else that I can say to be able to get people to understand that. Everybody is mad because they think that they should have shit, especially when you get something. They think you should, oh, I should have that. I don't even see how he got that. I've been working longer than he has. What the hell does that mean? That length of service shit don't mean nothing. I've been rhyming for 25 years. And there's people that's been rhyming for 2 years and have attained more than I have. And I'm not mad at that. They figured it out. They know what to do. They cracked the code. I'm not mad at that. I'm not upset at that at all. And I don't think we should be. We all need to understand that there's a level of effort that's going to take to be able to get to where we're going to get to, period. And if you're not pushing yourself to be able to get there and you're expecting to be able to have somebody to put a battery in your back all the time, you're going to lose every time waiting on them. Because if they're the ones that's pushing you, there's nobody pushing them. So that just brings me back to moments. Where's your moment? What are you going to do to get there? How are you going to achieve it? It's up to you. It's up to me. It's up to me to see it through. I'm starting to beginning to see what that looks like. But there's a lot more effort and a lot more things that I'm going to have to do in order to be able to get better. So, as I said before, and I say it again, I really do appreciate each and everything that everyone does and how they show up for what we do, show up for what I do. I appreciate y'all. If you check down on a little scroller, you can go and pick up merch. You can get one of these nice snazzy overseer shirts. You can get a plain black rapper podcast shirt. You can get a Nytelife beanie, Nytelife shirt. You got the album cover for the Beautifully Colored Dreamer shirts. Support. All of those things help. Or you could just do what some people do. $sign Nytelife 3200, Cash App. Make a donation for the content that you're seeing, for the things that you're hearing. If you enjoy it and you roll with it, rock with it, lean with it, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Support, because all of this stuff turns because there's money being put into it, and that's out the pockets. So I would love for my gift to be able to fund what it is that I do here. So continue to support if you can. And if you listen, you share. I really appreciate comments and feedback. So please make sure you get those up if you can. You can hit me at Nytelife 3200 on Instagram. You can DM me. You can hit at Mitchell Media Review. You can comment there for the Plain Black Rapper podcast as well. We're on Facebook. We're everywhere, man. So just check us out. So love to everyone. And it's about that time to head on out. Difficult roads often lead to most beautiful destinations. Shoot your shot. Go for the win. You might make it. Peace.